Hey, and welcome back. It's Niels from GMC Mini Truck. Thanks for tuning in. Today, in this episode, I'm going to tackle routing up my amp rack. As you could have seen in previous videos, I've been working on this thing, which will be mounted on the cab wall of my GMC Sonoma. And this is where we currently at. So I got the DSP, got the amplifier. So what I need to do is to get information signal from this output into this input. So I will be making a new cable. I will not be using the one supplied by Rockford. I don't really like this, and it ends in females. This is also female, so I have to fab something up to make female, male, male, female. It's not really my cup of tea in this short of space or short of distance. So what I'm gonna do is actually make everything custom. So from here I will be using these guidelines which I drew, and that will end up in a RCA or tulip or whatever you want to call them into here. So this is exactly how it should be. So the first one here is the front left out, and that is here the front left in. Then the next one up is the front right, that goes into here, etc, etc. So there will be 6 cables coming out of this connector, because I will not be using the ones marked as spare. So there's 2 fronts, there is 2 rears, and there is 2 subs. I could also get away with 1 sub, but for purposes, I don't know, I just like this to be filled. And it also leaves me with 6 cables, which I can probably bundle into 2 sets of 3 instead of 3 and 2, or maybe 5 parallel. That is something to be done. So let me start with the first one. So I will be routing them as tightly as possible, because I'm really into clean wiring. So this will follow this, then here around the bend, then straight through here, then somewhere here it will make another bend, and it will look like this. So that's the first run, and then I will do the others. So I will just cut everything with a little overlap, because I got enough. So we'll start here, because this is the most fiddly, and then end up all individually here. Pinning these cables is actually a bit of a tricky thing. I also needed to buy some new pliers in order to do so. So these are the pins. Yes, they are minute. And I will be using, I think, only this one, because this is for a bigger size. So I'll put that one aside. So I will be using this crimper. I will be running these in pairs. So the 2 silvers will have to go into this little cavity here, and the 2 blues will go into the other cavity. And then that one around here, that actually locks the insulation in place. Let me show you what I mean. Yeah, now stripped the ends. So this is now ready to be inserted into the pin. Okay, that's 1 pin done. So not sure if you can tell that on the video. Maybe I'm too close, maybe I'm too far away, but it's now crimped. Oh man, this is so ridiculously fiddly, but I got them on there. So crimped and all, looking good. So now it's time to slide them in. And there is actually an orientation to them, so it's hard to tell, but it's flat and rounded. And actually the flat bit goes on the lower side, and that actually is the same as with these, although they're slightly different. But yeah, because it hooks in with these ridiculously small hooks on the side. And there you have it, another pair introduced into the connector. So I will not bore you to death with any more footage of this. This is how it looks like when they're all in there. 6 strings. So now it's just a matter of routing them, then cutting them exactly to length, and apply these things. Sorry guys, I couldn't keep this away from you. Maybe this is getting a little anal, but I just can't help myself. I want to have properly spaced wiring. So what I'm doing is using this Japanese calibrated ruler, my center punch, just to make a couple of holes. And it's 2.5 centimeters each, then a width of exactly 1 centimeter, and that will give me enough room to put 3 of these next to each other and then 3 on top. So next up is drilling a couple of holes, and then I will be using my zip ties just to loop them around. Yeah, nice, huh? A hobby. But it keeps you off the street and into the garage. This is where we currently at. Doesn't look much different than you have seen it before, but there is one big difference. Let me show you the underside. So I got all these holes drilled for guiding the cable. This is actually quite fiddly, so I drilled all the holes you've seen on the underside also through the carpet. So got the tie wraps and flip them around, then I can loop them through and do that all the way. So first I will put all the cable ties through like this, so it already gives me a run. So I got them temporarily labeled up, that at least I know which one is which. So now the fun bit is actually going to route these puppies. That goes in here, and then it's just a matter of routing everything through here. But that's easier said than done, because I want to have them in a particular order, and that means that the first left, or the first ones, 1, 2, 3, they will go on the bottom and also in this order, and then these will go on top also in this order. And now I got 2 runs of 3 on top of each other, and they will follow exactly the same path throughout. And it looks like this. Next chapter is to connect the connectors. What the hell? This stuff is so hooky and grippy, it's ridiculous. Anywho, the connector. So this goes here, then that goes onto here, this screws onto there, and that's all very easy, but it's all in the details. So already got my solder station powered up, already de-twisted those wires, so blue goes to blue and silver goes to silver. Blue is positive, silver is negative, so that means that the blue goes onto the center pin and the silver goes onto the shield. Let's strip these, solder it up, and that's one connector done. Halfway in with soldering the connectors, so this is the current situation. So I make pairs of them, so 2 blues, 2 silvers, the same as there. They are going to be soldered onto the connector, but it's hard to solder this stuff, so I'm using some promoter. It's I don't know how you call it in English. In Dutch it's soldeervet, and but yeah, it tags, so never forget to sleeve this one first before you solder it on, because otherwise you have to undo your work. So yeah, halfway, we're getting there. Now we've got this. So it's all routed, loomed, buttoned up. So basically all I have to do now is of course do everything else. But this was, well, the most challenging, because this connector cannot be depinned, so you cannot take the pins out. So if you want to do something new, you have to start from scratch. That's what I did. Now it looks like this. So of course I still have to do all the power cabling that will somewhere go here, and then of course all my speaker cables, which will be routed like so. Yeah, and my remote that goes also here, but yeah, that's not really that challenging. So if everything is buttoned up, and of course we're still missing the power of the other cables, but at least it gives you an impression of how it looks like. It's pretty cool, I must say. That's and actually we're now looking at from the bottom, but once everything is upright it will more look like like so. So basically this whole run you cannot see, probably up to here, only this small part. But it's all about that I know that I did it, and I know how I did it. So to finish off with that, thank you all very much for watching. Please like, subscribe and comment, and then I will see you on the next one. Take care, bye bye, and toodaloo.